Hello and welcome to another episode of Math with Stone. Today we're going to be focusing on how to find the surface area of a cylinder. So what I have here is an ordinary toilet paper roll, and with this ordinary toilet paper roll, what we're referring to with surface area is we're referring to every outside surface. We want to find the area of every part of this, the top, the bottom, and around the outside. Now with a cylinder, the top and bottom are really easy. It's clear to see that the top of this guy is a circle, and the bottom is also a circle. Like we got a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom of this shape. So the area of a circle, really easy. Every cylinder will have a top and bottom. In order to find the surface area of that is just find the area of both of those circles and add them together. Okay? That's not the part that people get confused about. The part that people get confused about is, what is the area of this shape that's like what you would hold if it was an actual can? What would be the area of this outside shape right here? And which is why I have this toilet paper roll. If you were to take it and you were to take and cut the cylinder down the height and unravel it, you get a shape that's a little bit more familiar. You get a rectangle. And this rectangle is what is forming the cylinder when it's rolled together. So this rectangle is the surface area. It's the outside bits. You can just see me unpeel it. So we need to find the area of this rectangle right here. And the area of any rectangle is going to be base times height. Well, luckily, if you have a cylinder, you're already going to know the height. That's the part that we just cut. This height right here. So the rectangle, that's going to be the height. And then the base is this bottom edge or top edge. They're both the same. And we need to find the length of that. Well, the length of this top edge, if you roll the circle back together, that top part is this outside edge of the circle. And the outside edge of a circle is the circumference. So we need to find the circumference of this circle, and the circumference of that circle is going to be the base that we need to find the area of this rectangle. And once we find the circumference, we'll have the base, we'll have the height, we'll be able to multiply base times height to get the area of this rectangle to be able to add it to the top and bottom circles that we already have. All right? So we're going to do a quick recap, and then we're going to see what that looks like on paper. You could always unravel that cylinder into the top circle, the bottom circle, and then the rectangle that is in between it and really is the meat and potatoes of a true cylinder. And that rectangle is the tricky part, which the base times height for the area of the rectangle is going to be the circumference of one of the circles, which you'll be able to see me spin this around, and the height of the cylinder itself. So we're going to spin around that circle on the top, and that's the circumference, and that is the base of that rectangle. And the height, of course, is the height of the cylinder. So let's see what this would actually look like. If we want to find the surface area of a cylinder, then it would be really helpful to know what the formula is. The surface area formula is pi r squared. That is the area of any circle. But because we have a top circle and a bottom circle, we have to multiply that by 2. Remember, for surface area, we're looking for the area of all the outside parts. So that would be the area of the top and bottom circle. But then we have to add in the area of the unraveled rectangle. And the unraveled rectangle is the base times the height. So the base is the tricky part. That was the circumference of the top part of the circle, which the circumference formula for a circle is 2 pi r. And the height was just the height of the cylinder, so times height. So we have our formula. It's big, but it makes sense. You got two circles, and you have the rectangle that they are formed to equal. All right, let's find the surface area of a cylinder with that then. Let's take a cylinder here. Let's give our cylinder a radius of 4 and a height of 5 inches. So we're going to use inches as the unit of measurement here. And we're going to plug it into the formula. We need to find the area of the top circle and the bottom circle, which would be 2 times pi r squared. Well, our radius is 4, so I'm plugging in 4 for that radius. And I got the 2 circles right here. And then I have to add in that rectangle, which is 2 times pi r. Again, our radius is 4, so we're going to plug the 4 in again. And then times that by h, which our height is 5. We're going to follow through with this math, and then we are going to be able to get our answer. So we end up with, I always do the 4 squared first, 2 pi times 16. And then I always do the 4 times 5 first, and you end up with 2 pi times 20. Okay? If you've done it kind of correctly in this first step, you really only have a 2 pi here and a 2 pi there. And when you multiply 2 and 16 together, you end up with 32 pi. And 2 and 20 together, you end up with 40 pi. And then, because these both have a pi, you can just add 32 and 40 together to get 72 pi. And you can leave it in terms of pi, or you can multiply now by 3.14. So if you take that 72 and multiply by 3.14, you end up with 226.08 inches squared. Notice how it's not inches cubed, because we are not finding the volume. We're still looking for the area of the outside edge. So we can represent that as either the 72 pi inches squared or the 226.08 inches squared. All right? So I got one more quick example for you, and then we can be on our way. Let's say we're not given the picture of it, and they just tell you that the height is equal to 8 inches and the radius is equal to 3 inches. And you're asked to find the surface area. So without a shape, without actually be given like the drawing, if we know it's a cylinder, we can still do it. Remember, we're looking for the area of the top and bottom circle. So we're going to start with that. 2 times pi r squared is the top and bottom circle, which is 2 times pi times 3 squared. And then we have to add that in with the rectangle, and the rectangle is the base, which is the circumference of the circle, times the height. So we have to plug in the r again, 2 pi times 3, and then the height, which we were given flat out as 8. Follow through with that math. We end up with 2 times 9 pi, and we end up with 2 pi times 24. Now notice how I put the 9 pi there? That's just a force of habit for me. Last time I kept it as 2 pi times 9. Because these are all multiplied together, it doesn't really matter which order you put them in, as long as you keep the plus sign stuff separated, like the 2 and the 9 pi and the 2 pi and 24 are separate. So I'm going to multiply 2 and 9 together to get 18 pi. I'm going to multiply 2 and 24 together to get 48 pi. And now, because they're both the pi's, I've multiplied everything I can add these two things together. So if we add 18 and 48 together, you end up with 64 pi inches squared. And again, if you need to multiply that by 3.14, you may. You don't have to. But if you do multiply 64 by pi, and you're multiplying it by 3.14, you end up with 200.96 inches squared. All right? So that's going to be doing it for this episode of Math with Soane. I hope you learned something about surface area and, more importantly, how to take a cylinder and separate it and unfold it into something that's a little bit flat, a flat rectangle. All right? Till next time, have fun, and I will see everybody later. Bye.